Humungousaur is the new form, I would like to say, is the teenage Ben 10's version of like Forearms or Diamond Head when it comes to being a new go-to brute, not counting Way Big, of course. He's like the powerhouse of the group. He even has an ultimate mode that seems to be leagues above his standard one too. Humungousaur can jam his hand through solid stone, aliens that are big as him. In his clash with Vilgax, shakes faraway buildings, able to stop this momentum of this hybrid giant temporarily. Strong enough to hold up a collapsing. He can get bigger, by the way. Highway overpass, he can get stronger as he gets bigger as well. This is still base Humungousaur. He has manhandled hybrids before, tugs this massive piece of alien tech up a cliffside. He said, F it, let me just increase my power and grab this to pick it up even faster. Rips a light pole out of the ground, and he gets strong enough to lift the Washington Monument that much. Lifts up and throws a train, great distance. Obviously, he can lift up cars. That's light work for him. He can lift up multi-storied wooden buildings. Yeah, that's strong. Lift mobile homes. Can lift this big creature up. Like if you could throw anything to space, it shows your power. It just takes an overwhelmingly amount of force to do something like that. He tried to lift Excalibur out the stone. Forearms couldn't do it, by the way. This kind of proves that Humungousaur was better in strength. He rips the stone out with Excalibur. This kind of proves that what mode is superior in power. Literally switch back and forth. I'd say whatever Forearms can do, Humungousaur can do better when it comes to strength. And considering what Forearms has lifted and how strong he is as a bare minimum is impressive. And this is not even counting Humungousaur's ultimate mode. Like I showed earlier in the vid of how Forearms lifts up several hundreds of tons with ease. He lifted up the Washington Monument, something confirmed to be over hundreds of thousands of tons. This is Humungousaur without going into Ultimate Humungousaur, him just increasing his size, implied to be stronger than Forearms without even increasing his size. So once he increases his size, he's even stronger, and then the Ultimate mode on top of it. It's just too much going for him when it compared to Forearms. I love when they lift up stuff that actually exists in real life so it can actually have a real weight on it. That's the cool part about it. Humongous, he's able to restrain Jet Ray in his arms, other powerful aliens that Big can turn into, showing that he's the physical superior. Breaking Gwen's shields, of course he can. Catches this guy's Rex arm. Raw power. These pillars ain't ready for his power. He's pretty quick. Like being able to dodge laser. He briefly resisted energy absorption from a guy that's always draining people or beings. This same being always draining folks really quickly. Humungousaur knows sumo wrestling. Ain't that funny? Seems like he can get double or triple the size of himself, so maybe his strength can double or triple, it seems, and this is not even counting his ultimate mode. He can evidently shrink down to 10 feet if he wishes. If he's just in restraints, he can just grow to rip out of them. If he feels like it. Then you got Ultimate Humungousaur. Like he got projectiles now, hyper evolution. You can get an idea of how strong he is based on anybody in the species representing Humungousaur, not necessarily just Ben. So whatever you see other Humungousaurs in the series do that's not necessarily Ben, it still kind of counts to Humungousaur. Look at the punching power he can create, fighting a whole bunch of other Humungousaurs. Showing that Ultimate Humungousaur is way above your base Humungousaur. I would even argue this punch was on some city-shattering levels of type stuff. Just look at that massive crater. Look at this massive crater that he did with one punch. Ultimate Humungousaur's power is so crazy that he can fight a whole bunch of different Humungousaurs just on a totally different level of power. They can shake a good portion of the Plumber space station with their punches. That's how much energy they can produce, slugfest style. Lifts up large boulders bigger than himself. Seems to be very casual. Power. Stadium lamppost. Let me lift this up. Raw power. He can even lift up Way Big, who could weigh at least 400 tons or even up to 40,000 tons, depending on how you look at Way Big. And Humungousaur can lift this being up, but being able to lift him up is already a big feat considering the mass of Way Big. Humungousaur, when it comes to his full potential, could be even crazier in the future because Forearms in the future was able to harm a being that was taking hits from Way Big, who's a planet buster. This Kevin 11 from the future was able to take hits from Way Big himself. Forearms is able to hurt this same Kevin. Notice how Forearms couldn't move this, but when he switched to Humungousaur, he could pull it out. Well, not exactly pull it out, but pull out the stone with the sword. But yet, forearms in the future can harm something that way big was punching again, and he wasn't just irrelevant in comparison. Respect Humungousaur, though. Let's use our brains for a second. If forearms can harm beings in the future forearms harm beings with planet-shattering durability, right? And supposedly Humungousaur is supposed to be physically above the forearm species when it comes to strength. Shouldn't that make Humungousaur a planet buster as well, since he's supposedly supposed to be above this form when it comes to strength in general? And that's not even counting his ultimate Humungousaur. How strong is ultimate Humungousaur in the future? Just a lot of things that you got to think about in the future.